This is part 4 in our introduction to vRealize Suite Lifecycle Manager. Let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Brian Watrous from VVork. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about automating, programming, and monitoring in VMware environments, you're in the right place. Start now by subscribing and click the bell so that you don't miss a thing. There are multiple videos in this introduction to vRealize Suite Lifecycle Manager. Take a look up there for the whole playlist. In the previous video, we used vRealize Suite Lifecycle Manager to configure vRealize automation within our vSphere infrastructure and within our network. In this video, we're going to complete the video. Let's pick up where we left off in the lab. We have some additional integrations that we can set up in our deployment of vRealize automation. So if I wanted to, I'm going to keep this demo simple here, but I could configure VRA to integrate it with vRealize operations so that VRA could be monitored by vRealize operations. I could integrate with workload placement and reclamation over in vRealize operations, and so forth. If I am going to do that type of integration, once again, I would need to select the certificate to use for that communication. Again, here I could just use VRA cert. But I'm going to leave these product properties up top alone, because what I really want to show you down below is this component section. Now, as you can see here in the component section, it's first of all asking me for information about the VRA appliance that we're deploying. Well, I want my VRA appliance called SA-VRA-01, so let me change its VM name here. And additionally, I'm going to supply the domain name, not the domain name, I'm typing the domain name. What I meant to say is I'm going to supply the fully qualified domain name of my VRA appliance along with its IP address, which again, if I recall correctly, is 172.20.10.63 in our example. Well, as you can see here, I've answered all sorts of questions, but in the same Lifecycle Manager interface that I'm already accustomed to using from installing other products. There's a consistent interface to installing all these different products. But I've answered questions about how I want VRA deployed. I've answered questions about how I want it deployed into our vSphere environment. I've given it answers to how I want it connected into our network infrastructure. And again, I've done all that in the common Lifecycle Manager interface. So let's continue on. And as you can see, we have the opportunity here to run a pre-check. Now the pre-check is going to go through the configuration that we've set up and perform various tests. I'll show you some of those in a moment, but it's going to perform tests to make certain that everything looks good before we actually do the installation. So let's click Run Pre-Check. And as you can see, it's launching into the pre-check. Let's give it a few moments and we'll check in on it. As you can see, the pre-check has completed and all validations have passed for this particular environment. So we're going to be able to install vRealize automation here in just a few moments. But before we do, if you want to see what the tests are, if you want some insight into what those pre-check tests were, if you click on Download Report, it will download a document. Why don't we put it here in Downloads? Let's go ahead and save it. And then I'll go ahead and open up this report to give you a quick glimpse of what it looks like. So here's the pre-check report, and as you can see, it's doing various checks of the configuration that we've set up, doing things such as pinging that 172.20.10.63 IP address to make certain that nobody's already there at that particular IP address, along with lots of other various tests. Again, if you'd like to see each of these, I'll let you hit the pause button as I slowly scroll through these. So here's our first page, second page worth of checks, third page, fourth page, fifth page, and finally the sixth page. Now I know that was terribly exciting. I'm sure you paused and read every single line there, but what's really exciting though is that we're at the point where, having answered all these questions in the common Lifecycle Manager interface. Having passed all the pre-checks, I can now click on the next button. I'll be taken to a summary screen where I can confirm one last time, does everything look good? If you want to, you can hit expand all and go through every single configuration parameter that we set up, but I'm pretty confident we've got this set up right, so I'm going to click submit. And as you can see, it's kicking off the installation, and as it does so, I can track the installation by going to the request section, and in the request section it tells me that this particular installation is going to involve 7 different stages with different steps within those stages. And if I scroll across the screen, I can see every single one of those stages, but just a brief little explanation of these. As we're going through stage number 1, each of these dots represents a particular task that's going to be carried out in the installation. So we start off at the beginning, and then we're going to start the VRA deployment, I should say the VRA virtual appliance deployment, and then we're going to validate the inputs, and it just keeps going through. And each of these lines, whether they're straight lines or curvy lines, each of these lines is telling you the transition where we're making between these different states. But obviously what we want to see happen here is each of those dots gets green one after another, one stage after another, until we get to the very end of the deployment, stage 7 in this case. And if all went well, which I expect it will, we'll see that the installation of vRealize automation has completed. Now again, all of this has been done through the same interface in Lifecycle Manager that I can use to deploy other products in the VMware vRealize suite of technologies. And furthermore, Lifecycle Manager is not just making it tremendously easy to do the install, it's also helping me by subsequently allowing me to manage the lifecycle process of this product and the other products. So it's not just about installations, it's about ongoing monitoring, health monitoring, patching, upgrades, content management can all be done within vRealize Suite Lifecycle Manager. What other Lifecycle Manager features would you like to learn about? Let me know in the YouTube comments below.